What do you have for him today?
And Brad, you hear they let that Merkin guy out of the institution?
God, no, they did not. Darn it.
They did. Cut, unshackled. I heard he's on the loose.
Well, welcome back. It's been
That's
a
a
while.
Triumph song. If you look it up, guys, I'm aging myself, but that's a Triumph song. Tonight you're on the loose. Ba-na-na-na. Do you remember that, Brad?
No comment.
Oh, God.
Actually, I don't.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, Scott. Yeah, Saga. That's it. That's it. Chris killed it. I love my people, Brad. I love the people here. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate what you're doing. And that you allow yourselves to experience the world with a little bit of humor, because that is a key for success. We must have that. Brad and I have one of the most fantastic presentations in the history of presentations, something that I'm frequently saying. Before we get started, of course, let please us, Brad, may the gods of legalese exist, and let our listeners have the disclaimer. Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor. All the information that you are hearing is for educational and informational purposes only, and not to be construed as a registered investment advisor, which we are not. Brad, right? We are not. Brad, your mic needs to be on better so that I can, go back and forth like Laurel and Hardy, Batman and Robin. When Batman does something and he's expecting Robin to come in there and beat up one of the Joker's guys, and Robin's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I have dogs chewing bones in my office, so I'm trying to clean out this thing. So sorry about that. I'm back.
Do you guys see what I'm working with here? Well, don't make me sick Greg Chew on you, because Greg get upset. All right, guys, here we go. Order of business. We are doing our summit, and we have a fantastic lineup of speakers. This is part of the thing that we do where we want to improve the community for the investment world. We want to help you see things in what we believe is the truthful way. And we have people who succeed at it and do it by example, and we have a bunch of them coming to speak, including yours truly. It's going to be a fantastic event, and I want to make sure that you guys know what's going on and know the dates, and it's October 20th. And if you go to our website, all the information that you need will be available. Brad, is that correct? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we've got that little website or that web address right there, which will give a little bit more information. I think we still have the pre-sale going on. So Scott will correct us on that towards the end.
What's up, Mike? Thank you very much. Jen, always appreciated. All right, right on, Greg. Love it. Okay, so this is the event, Trade Ideas event. Scott, by the way, thank you for doing all the hard work. Scott does a lot of stuff behind the scenes. It makes me and Brad look good, which if you ever seen us, it's not an easy thing to do. So, Brad, I got to tell you, I was a little startled when I opened the PowerPoint presentation because, well, since I've been gone, it's got so good that it scared me. I was ready.
You've been on vacation. It's kind of the difference between me and you. I need a little more guidance as I'm presenting. You just kind of seem to free flow it, so somewhere in between.
Well, it's two different kind of rap styles,
Exactly.
Complete freestyle, and you like to have your lyrics right in front of you on your iPhone when you're, like Black Thought versus Method Man, by the way.
You're a purist.
If anybody knows, Black Thought versus Method Man. Now, see, I'm decreasing my age, Brad, I think. Not sure how that works. But those guys might be from the 90s. But what I want to say is that this presentation is awesome, and I almost don't want to go off track, to be honest. But I'm going to, because I just can't do it, because there's too much good stuff to show you guys. I literally just can't do it. By the way, Barry, great to see you. And I'm going to come back to it because it's so good. I got to give Brad credit. Guys, Brad was just a much better student than I was. My God, I get so distracted by things that I like. So, okay, here we go. Are you guys ready for some fun? Because it's going to be fun today. My goodness gracious. Brad, can I tell you what I was going to do before you just jumped in and killed it with your beautiful presentation-ese?
You were going to talk about the storm that we're experiencing.
Will you stop. I'm not going to do that to Scott on my first one back. Crazy.
I don't have any idea.
No. Come on. What was I going to do?
You're going to talk about our fantastic software. It's what we do.
Of course, but then, but once again.
Well, I can't read your mind.
Well, I know. But we once again, guys, can you imagine that you are sitting here in front of two executives and a great marketing guy whose secret weapon is RERO? Brad, do you know what those words? Say those words together. I mean, the letters. What is that?
RERO.
Yeah, what does that sound like to you if you say it?
RERO.
Yeah, say the word. Does it almost sound like Rero? Like a Scooby. Like something that Scooby would say. Guys, we created a Scooby snack meme that drives all of our internal software development. Let me tell you this, and since Google and Zuckerberg are listening, Brad, they're going to copy this. It's going to blow them away. Release early, release often. Rero. That's what we do.
That is our motto.
That is our motto. And
in fact, let me stop you right there.
Please, because I ran out of material.
No, I know you have plenty of it. But by the way, guys, in the chat window, if you find that inside of the GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar console, I did drop a link to our latest beta. So download that, install it. It's going to give you some really good stuff, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but just so you know that's there. Release often.
How do we do that? We do that because of our gigantically stable technological software advantage. Super stable genius software is built on a foundation that allows us to release early and release often, allowing Scooby-Doo to fuel our creativity, where we break the mystery machine of the market, Brad.
You're good.
I'm here all week. I'm back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Flowers and all this other stuff can be, okay. So I'm going to show you some stuff. And again, Brad, is this the first time all the peeps are seeing it that are here?
Are you talking about the channel bar?
Correct.
Yes, today is the first full day. We went live last night, so yes, everybody should have access to the new channel bar. Now, if you install the latest version, you're going to have access to the customizability of the channel bar.
Right. Okay, so everyone should do that. And the reason, again, my routine is heading here is because look at the channel bar and what you see. So now, because again, remember, we are heading into the direction where you will be able to have multiple things open at the same time, where you can have like your work layout, maybe even your work, your full trading, and your idea gen layout all together in 3 different containers. We're going to get there. It's just not happening quite yet. But in the meantime, we are creating technology to help you navigate. Look at what's happening. Each AI channel now gives you a lot on vacay while you were doing the magic. I want to give you the credit for telling people exactly what they see. Please communicate using your beautiful voice.
Yeah. So, recently we've made some enhancements to the channel bar by adding some additional information to a couple of the different channels, specifically the AI channels. And while before we used to give you the profit loss chart, typically the profit chart and the amount that the respective AI is up or down, as well as the number of trades that have occurred, we've taken that theme and broadened it a little bit. So now what we're doing is we're letting you know which mode is this in. Is this in risk on or is this in risk off mode? So that's kind of the first thing on the lower right-hand side of that little overlay, so you'll have that bit of information. Then what we did over in the trade count, we have a secondary number just to the right of the total trades, and that number is going to represent the total number of open positions at that time. And in addition to giving you that particular count, we're also going to highlight that field, turn it yellow just like we do with some of the rows inside of the software, when we're alerting you to something, it'll turn yellow, and then over a period of time, over a period of 5 minutes, it'll degrade into right back into the black background. So you're alerted to new trades in the different AI segments, and with that info, you can really just dive directly to that particular segment and see exactly what signal has occurred if you don't happen to be looking at it at that time. So
Brad,
that's kind of what we've added to it.
Well, I think the other thing too, Brad, is that for someone who's, let's say, just going in, right, they can quickly get a lay of the land. Like, for example, today, you can imagine very quickly, if I'm just overlooking what I'm seeing, and I'm going to say it, then Brad will explain why. I would say, Brad, today was a day to really let the volatility work for you. Maybe like broaden your stops a little bit, let things kind of develop. Why would I say that?
Well, I mean, it's information that's specific to the nature of the risk on mode that we're in, as opposed to the risk off mode. So you can see that all three of these AIs are in risk on mode, and that just simply means that there's more market follow through to the position and signals that have been called. So every one of these strategies that we have in the various AIs, they all have a time expiration to them. Maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 3 hours, but at the end of that time, if it hasn't been stopped out or the profit target hasn't been met, it's going to go ahead and exit that position. But we're still keeping track of the P&L as time goes on, as the market continues throughout the day. And if a stock or if the segment happens to be in risk off mode, that's just telling you that it's better to kind of get out of the position when it's telling you to, as opposed to staying in it. But you can see, looking at the broader market over on the spiders there was some pretty good strength to the market. And a lot of times when the market is like that, your stocks that you get in are going to have a little bit more follow through. So we're giving you that information just in a real thumbnail view, so you can see all three of those segments are in risk on, and that tells you something right there.
Well, Brad, it's kind of like, again, we talk about, we want to give you the weather report, but real quick. Not only that, but at a bird's eye view. Like, I mean, again, and you guys, the guys that have been here, you guys know what we have, right? I mean, just by looking at the numbers, what does that tell you today, Brad, just about the numbers and the totals? Having been watching our AI like you and I have, and the same with our customers.
Well, I mean, there are a couple of things. There are a couple of things with the numbers. If you're talking about the profitability, these are really good numbers, because it's essentially hypothesizing that you're just trading one share of each signal, and it's letting you know how much you would be up or down with respect to that. But if you look specifically at the chart itself, the profitability chart, you're going to see that it was pretty painless throughout the day. I mean, you may have started off a little negative, but that's trading, right? You have to be aware of that. But as that market's going on, you're finding yourself that you're making higher highs and higher lows, and that just makes for a much more stress-free environment. And if you do that through the different AI segments, you're going to see that the charts are somewhat similar to that mindset, where it just kept getting a little bit better throughout the day.
Okay, not only that, but ladies and gentlemen, I mean, Brad, do you know what I was going to call today's presentation before I saw your beautiful work and just literally could not handle it?
No idea.
I was going to call it Bring the Pain. And let me tell you what I'm saying by that. You have to understand, those that are not with us are not with us to their detriment. That you win nothing by not looking at this information. Look at the breakdown of percentages in this particular example on this 18-to-1 4.34 win rate. Okay, 4.78%, 3.92. I mean, look at it in risk off mode also. I mean, there's either way. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what you would call insane asylum kind of work. It's the work that people don't believe exists, which is, of course, why we are here. So that's, Brad, why I wanted to say bring the pain. It's to your detriment. There's no amount of convincing that any of us could ever do to make you believe something if you are not open to understanding that we, number one, have broken that mold, and number two, what's amazing is that we never wanted to become a family office and rule the world. We want to improve humanity. Brad, I said this yesterday, this big meeting that we had. This technology should be unleashed because it puts more light on stocks that are otherwise unseen. the more light that is on them, of course, to one extent is competition, but to the other extent is liquidity. It lets you have more room to work with. So there's this beauty where we are helping the entire financial market system. And Brad, I believe that completely. So what I want to do here
where we go one, we go all.
Where we go one, we go all. So I want to show you, I mean, again, just look at these percentages, because that's really like in terms of question and answer. Like I know you, like you don't need to be effing with the setup, you know? That's the thing. The pure here, the pure mode is not working on like your in the right place in terms of watching the AI, and then there are rules. It's not like it's sitting there and guessing and going and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I mean, you guys have seen this. We don't do that. This is not bullshit. This is next evolutionary stuff. And Brad, can I tell you something cool that I was thinking about? And you guys are listening to me freestyle, of course. 1776. Do you know what I mean by that? Can I tell you? It's a pretty impressive number, right? Because that was the Declaration of Independence. You can see like there's a lot of emotion in that date, and 4th of July. You know, we celebrate all that, right? Very powerful.
I remember 1976.
Well, of course, from Dazed and Confused. But what I'm trying to say is that people sort of, I think, got very quick to take for granted technology, meaning they're like, oh, Google and Facebook, they've done everything. They haven't. There's so much more to do and so much cool stuff happening. And I believe that we are ushering the next evolutionary phase of technology, not Google, not Facebook, not Microsoft, but little old trade ideas, which brings me to the next thing that I would like to tell you, which is, simply put, our plan is to go public on my birthday when I turn 50. I can't believe I said that, but it is 505. December 22nd, 2020. So that's 12/22/2020. And we're going to do something really cool. We're not doing any kind of raises in the middle. We don't have any investors. It's just us guys, and we're going to go right directly to you, the investors, and people who are subscribers to our technology who have helped us get there. And there's a time clock on that. In other words, we just track how long you've been a subscriber. The longer you've been a subscriber, the more shares you're going to get from whatever allotment we figure out how we're going to do it. So we're going to make our people really benefit from what is happening with the software company. It's lots of cool stuff happening. IPO 2020, December 22nd, 2020. And you subscribers, our affiliates who are helping people spread the word. I mean, can you imagine, how is it that we even have to spread the word, Brad, really? When we are almost vomiting alpha, look at this one, 17 trades, which, by the way, you know, people can say, and I've heard this before, Brad, where you can say, my gosh, sure is a lot of trades. But, you know, consider that we are helping people where we don't know when you are at the market. Not everyone is at the market all the time. So the beauty here is you have a lot of opportunities to capture alpha, and you're not specifically always necessarily confined to the early morning, like a lot of times in terms of what people think about opportunities, you know, the smile curve of the early open and the close. So, you know, I've never been more excited. Brad, you know that. You know how I feel.
And for good reason. I mean, it finds great opportunities and good ideas every single day. It's without exception. Right.
So, I mean, there's nothing really more to say there other than, so now you can imagine, here you are on the social media channel, okay, and you're watching stuff. You're like, ooh, this looks interesting. And, you know, again, I'm going to go over some of the things that Brad covers in the presentation. You can still use, you know, whatever it is that you want to use, just mnemonic stuff. This is what I've been saying. Don't make it complicated. Look at this. This thing is making a move, right? Well, if it can beat this move, which, you know, it's a little bit above, but don't worry about it. I'm going to call this, don't worry, run happy. Because if it's here, it's happy. So without thinking too much, here I am, I got my clip, I got my mnemonic. So this is kind of like our best practices of how people use the software. Let me turn on the surfing. One of the things that, again, Brad and I always talk about and discuss in terms of just teaching you some good things here. Surfing allows you to let the software bring information to you algorithmically and let your brain just take in information. If you've ever been to the opera, Brad, I know you go all the time.
I did enjoy Phantom of the Opera, but no, I'm not a big fan of the opera.
But you can imagine that you can appreciate Pavarotti's voice and the amazing notes that he hits, knowing that he is singing in Italian and that you may not exactly know everything that he's saying. But do you need to?
No, it'll bring a tear to your eye either way, right?
Correct. So this is what I'm saying. One of the beautiful ways to learn things is to learn it like a baby. Learn these visuals without trying to process the what it is and let them just come to you. We've done this simply because we have done the psychological work throughout the decades and decades and decades that Brad has been torturing me with psychological work. So I mean, that's the thing. This just lets it come to you. So now when I go channel surf, so here I am on the social media channel. I'm going to go on the Alpha Predator channel. Alpha Predator. Alpha is return above commissions and fees. And so being an alpha predator is something that you want. And we use this metaphor again, Brad, all the time. Why? Because a leopard, in this particular case, in case you don't know who the cat is first of all, one of the best pound for pound predators, certainly in the feline kingdom, if not the best, pound for pound. So strong and a killing machine. But the metaphor that we use is the leopard can be on a tree waiting for the prey to come to him, and then he pounces. That's what we are doing with our AI and with our software, and this is what you're doing visually. You're not sitting there running around, and that's what a lot of people do with their hands and the twitching and the trying to configure and the looking. Like, you just see something and notice, look, I put my mouse here. Brad, why did it stop?
It stopped because your mouse is over the chart, thinking, knowing that you are analyzing it or doing something.
Yeah. So Brad, if hypothetically speaking, only hypothetically speaking, I was going to get into this, but I wanted to hold it long term, where would I be getting at, you think?
Well, I mean, you have to be, it's kind of covering up the number right there, but it looks like it's about $4. I can't really see it, $4.20, but you see we have a swing exit.
By the way, I did that on purpose so that you would yell at one of our people.
That's all right. I think actually, if you bring that church over,
it's $4. Because by the way,
it's letting you know that, you know, based on this stock, its volatility, the volume, how much it's moved, its average daily range, that if you're going to get into the stock and expect to hold it for a period of time, then you could expect the volatility down to that $4 range.
And here?
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with a big gap up there. So a lot of times, and you never know, right? I mean, certainly this may never fill the gap. And it doesn't mean that you need to actually hold on to it as it's filling the gap if it starts to move down. But it's just giving you that information.
So thank you. And Brad, what I wanted to talk about, and this is something I want everyone to look into, compare to other software products. What software products for any stock you look at gives you a today kind of like scenario, like this is my stop if I was getting into it on the last print, if the market was open, a swing exit if I was wanting to hold long term, and by the way, all of this stuff adjusts, and even a profit target. For any stock, it doesn't really matter. You can go to your old nasty fangs. What? I don't even know what that is. I misspelled Facebook, Brad. I couldn't even, the stock name whose symbol cannot be named. I'm just kidding. So again, here you go. If you were in Facebook, you would want to get out of Facebook if it crossed 170.32, because again, and we're getting close, you can see why the software's like, hey, you know, because if you break this area, this is what's coming up quick. You don't want to sit there that quick, you know?
Yeah, and if you actually look over to the shorter term chart, the one on the right, the 5-minute candle chart, we're giving you a shorter time frame. This is if you're going to be trading this during the day based on this stock's particular volatility and its range for the day. And what its relative volume is compared to normal. It's giving you that intraday expectation of what you could expect if you were to get into this position.
And that's the thing that you don't find anywhere else. So, which is why, by the way, when I hit resume surfing, and here I am back on the Alpha Predator channel, the software is going to take me through some stuff, and I'm going to just be watching good levels. This is the thing, watching good levels. Your eyes are learning something, whether you want them to or not. I've never could even imagine having something like this when we were trading, Brad. You would have not sweat through so many shirts.
Thanks.
Brad was a very emotional trader. Heated. He got into the monitor.
We like to say I was more intense, right? You know,
He was intense. Sometimes
focused energy.
Yeah. And the thing, guys, you hopefully understand, we don't need to be salesmen because we love what we do. You need salesmen when whatever it is you got it needs to be sold. We're just making people aware. And the software does sell itself because we made it. We made it something that you will must have. Brad, does not work in English, does it? Scott's probably fainting. You must have this. It is a technology. All of your servers belong to us. That's the big advantage. Trade Ideas servers. What we do on the server technology side, guys. We've been doing it for 15 years. There's no other server technology like it. We don't use any commercial products. You're seeing a one-of-a-kind tech in the history of tech.
I mean, you really did say it. If we had something like this when we were trading, right, it would be lights out. There'd be no.
Well, you guys wouldn't have had it because Brad. Yeah, we would own islands and other terrible things would happen.
Well, that's the cool thing is we love what we do, and it's nonstop innovation. It's continuing. After the next release, we're already starting work on the next features and functionality. So labor of love, and it's something that we're super excited to bring to you guys.
Yeah, Greg, there's a lot of C# in there, but then there's a lot of like custom stuff on the database that's just our stuff, you know. So
a lot of Linux on the server too.
Yeah, a lot of Linux, yeah. No, we were never VB, ever. Never .NET, anything. So let me get back to what I'm trying to say. Guys, it is a fair thing for me to tell you it's pain time. You got to either do it or not do it. If you are doing it, I want to then get back to this. The more money you have, the more things you can try. That is, it's that simple. Now, we can't like just give you money and you can't just get money yourself, and money meaning your asset base. From this point of view, by the way, and just so that you guys, Brad, and I love this kind of part of the discussion as well, because it brings back to everything started with card counting and beating Vegas. And as you guys may or may not know, if you're playing blackjack, the real difference between obviously the house mathematically just has this very slight advantage. You know that, right, Brad?
Yeah, but it's hard to bring a computer onto the blackjack table. Right?
No. Okay, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying that if you play blackjack against the house and you're playing, you know, the right way,
that's the advantage. Yep.
But if you're playing like an idiot, which most people play, the advantage, like, it kind of exponentially rises. But what people don't realize is one of the bigger things and simple things about blackjack, just your bankroll has a lot to do with whether you get on that wave of cards that come to you, you know, again, where the winners just come to you because you're on that roll. That's when, if you allow yourself to stay in the hands, that's how you get to potentially beating the house. Okay? That's the kind of card counting principles that went into creating the AI. And you get just the basic benefits of just simply, here's the signal, all the work's been done. Now, I just listen or don't listen. It's that do or don't. It's a yes or no decision. It's been made that simple. And Brad, as you know, we are getting very, very close to inching towards full automation of Holly, where things are going to go lights out. because the flood of people that is going to come through our door is going to be so gigantic. We may only do like only 1,000 additional, only 1,000 people at first. Brad, would you agree?
Well, yeah, it's certainly going to have to be limited, but it's really excited about turning this full automation.
Right. So most likely, so here's some cool stuff for you guys. Remember we talked about the IPO, et cetera, et cetera. We are going to get this automation going, and everyone who right now is a subscriber, they get it. Why? Because right now, Trade Ideas Brokerage Plus is in beta. Correct, Brad? Please correct me if I'm wrong.
It is, yeah.
And it's been in beta for a long, long time. I mean, we were fixing a lot of stuff. It's like we rewrote, we release early, we release often, and we're continuing to do it, but it's getting closer and closer to the magic. Once that happens, there will be an $1,100 charge for Brokerage Plus. One time only. We've always liked that 1,100 number, Brad.
It has a little ring to it, doesn't it?
It sure does. So that comes back, and that will only be available to the first 1,000 people, because you can't let a rhinoceros into a china shop, at least without a leash, or Superman holding the leash or something. I don't know the metaphor. I haven't gotten that far yet in this routine, but you get what I'm saying, Brad? It's kind of a good time to get on board anyways. You guys already know this doesn't exist anywhere else. If it did, you'd know it, you'd tell us. And if you don't like this, we always say, please go to, what's that thing called? Stocks to Trade? Stocks to Trade? I can't forget what the name is. But Tim Sykes does something funny with the stock market. I don't even remember. But there's always that. And remember, we have the software basically working with you and following you around. This is the thing that kind of goes towards what Sarah's asking. Look at this channel right here, My Liked Symbols. As I have been cruising around the software over time, I have a list that I've created. So you too can, for example, do something like this, Sarah. So here's your Holly stuff. First of all, we do have all the historical stuff, etc. for Holly. But you can also say, oh, look at this trade. Oh man, and Holly's nailed it both times. Add it to my like. Now it's doing it. So it's following you. And Greg, I think 600 will be kind of nice. Brad, don't you think, in terms of a number?
Well, yeah, it certainly gives you the buying power you need to be able to trade all the strategies and signals.
And I want to say that regardless if it's real or not, I'm totally giving you full credit, Greg, but just on social media and whatever we have to say, please don't assume that none of this is designed to say this is what you have to have or not have to have. It's just that we're saying, simply put, that more capital gives you more leeway. It's very simple, much like in blackjack. So that's simple speculation, no magic, no hocus pocus. But you see what's happening here. You can imagine what kind of demand there will be for that 1,000. So much so that it's possible we might raise prices. But I'm not saying, I mean, just hypothetically speaking only, we just have that freedom to do because we don't want to go crazy with this thing. And Greg's number is fantastic, but you can probably work with 60,000 or 50,000 just as well, because you can set it up to work with the money that you have. You see what I'm saying? It can reflect exactly your current state, that is your financial wherewithal to follow these signals. We believe this is the best that there's ever been, ever, in the market, ever. And I don't even hesitate for a second saying that. I like being confident about it. And again, we're not kind of for sale. People have approached us and whatever. We've never raised capital. That's the cool thing. We're going to try to do it going directly to you guys. We'll see what happens. I'm going to jump back to the presentation. Brad, is there anything that I've missed?
No, we're caught up. I'm just kind of knocking them out as they come. So no, we're good.
Okay, so what I want to say, dang it, I always do that. Share. It's not share. It's present. You guys, computers, you know, I'm much more of a visual person, but Brad did a fantastic thing here. What he's talking about is our server technology allows us to create data that other people do not have, and we show it to you numerically, we show it to you visually, but you can also imagine, by the way, that you can do things like at the Photoshop expert level of, like, let's say you're working for Lucasfilms or something terrible like that, Brad, and you needed to, like, not do 30% but 33%, Brad. You know, you can maybe do some magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have this ability to do that because whenever we look at all the information that's coming through the market, we look at every tick of every trade and we database it. We never throw it away. And we analyze this data until it turns blue, until Brad cannot handle it anymore and throws his computer out the window. Of course, we're on the first floor. Then he just gets it, picks it up. It's silly. There's lots of information that allows us to give you this technology. What language am I speaking? This technology allows us to give you lots of information that you otherwise will not see anywhere else. And the example of the high-low counter, example of, again, the navigation system for everything you see, long-term, short-term, and profits. We cover it all. You have it all right there, nothing for you to do. Meaning, just say yes or no. Of course, beautiful artificial intelligence. Nobody has this technology anywhere else in the market. Anywhere. If they did, again, you guys would tell us about it. And then we would have to kick their ass. But even then, we'd fight them like the greasers versus the socias. And
there you may have dated yourself.
I'd be Patrick Swayze. He's a good guy. That's why they took him out. So that's the thing. We would know. And the reason that doesn't happen is because nobody believes it can be done. Your scientists have taught you that the efficient market hypothesis isn't fully in play and dinosaurs ruled the earth and you can't make money, so give it all to a hedge fund and get on the communist bus to Robo-IRA-ville and everything's all merry and dandy.
I'd like to be average. Could you assist me in that?
Yes, I prefer some average, Brad. But you know, I'd like my average.
More average than the next?
More averages than your average. Yeah, people have been, I'm telling you, once you wake up, it's amazing what you see because your eyes are like, oh my goodness, ooh, wow, that's silly. Why am I paying fees to somebody that sucks? It's like kind of what Bubba Watson says about golf teachers. Why are they teaching me they can't play golf? If they play golf, I'd be competing with them. I don't want to know what they're doing anyways. Bubba, I love him. Not that way, you know, but because he says the right thing. Listen, buddy, if you knew what you were doing, you'd be doing what I'm doing. The AI is it. And the other beautiful thing that Brad's got up there in the channel bar, Brad, with your beautiful doggy, what you got there? The ability to do that. That's right. Your guy.
Yeah, no, so we have a little gear. So if you guys download that latest version that I dropped in the chat, and then on this channel bar right here in the upper left-hand corner of it, there's that little gear, that configuration icon. You click on that and you can go ahead and pick from either pre-selected channel icons or you can upload your own and then drop in your own cloud link. And that cloud link can either be a full layout like all these other channels that we have, or that cloud link could be a couple windows or a single window that you bring up regularly. And so you can add up to 5 different custom channels with this particular version here. That's what I have for you.
I love it. Again, innovation is nonstop, and there are more and more things coming. We've got our laser focus right now on, again, on the one hand, automation, and we're still trying to dig our way through the cryptocurrency mess of the 24-hour server. That will be coming. But again, notice, Everything happens in its due time. No rush, right, Brad? What did the old bull say to the young bull? Let's walk down, shall we? There's no need to rush. Don't be rushing. Don't rush. Brad, once again, please. I can't do it. I can't talk to this beautiful picture.
You know, we're right, because I think it was Greg that was asking. We do need to do a full webinar on Trade Ideas Brokerage Plus, because this is the interface right here that you would have running and connected to your interactive brokers, either the Trader Workstation version of their software or the IB Gateway, which is a real lightweight way to connect interactive brokers. But once you have that running and you bring up Brokerage Plus, you then connect to your IB account, and you can do some really cool stuff here. It started off where you can just automate a strategy. And so imagine anything that is configured inside of an alert window. You can take that and you can automate it just by attaching some rules to every signal that comes through. And those rules will be like, anytime that window has a signal, I want to go ahead and buy, say, $5,000 of this position. I want to do it on a market order. I want to put a stop in that's our smart stop and a profit target that's 3%. You know, something like that. And anytime a signal is generated in that strategy, it's going to go ahead and send that order to the market. Or if you have a limit order, you may not get filled, but it's going to execute those instructions, hold it for a period of time, based upon how you have it defined in your strategy, and just completely run that automated for you. And then there's a second component that we've added to the software, where in any one of our windows, when you see a signal, or a symbol rather, but a signal of that symbol, then you can right click on it and then send an execution right from that window right there, based upon a strategy that you had already set up. But not really a strategy, but an order segment, like I said, what's your stop target or stop loss, what's your profit target, and how's that order going to be sent. But then one last thing on that Brokerage Plus, it's so cool because in this particular view right here, this positions tab, if you were to right click on any of those particular trades, or positions rather, you're going to have some great options from which you can manipulate your orders. So if there happens to be a time stop or a profit target or a stop loss already set in one of those particular trades that you have, you can go ahead and modify it right from that right click menu. You have that on that left hand side, you've got that profit and loss chart, so you can see how your portfolio has performed since you started trading during the day. You know, has it been really stress-free like that chart indicates right there, or have you been kind of zigzagging all over the place? So it gives you really good information from that. But then you also get the ability to rapidly execute out of these positions or add to these positions just by either selecting one of those rows, or control selecting or shift selecting multiple positions, and then utilizing that rapid execution on the right hand side, where you can double a position or cut one in half, or get out of something really quickly, or get out of your whole portfolio if you want to.
And so, it kind of lets you game it a little bit, you know, especially for the younger fellas. Maybe not for me, you know. But
yeah, so this is something that we're kind of doing some bug fixes on it right now, but we'll get back into shortly into some more additional functionality, but also, as Dan was alluding to earlier, the ability to take the Holly signals and kind of not necessarily have to right click on it and go to trade and make that decision, but have it automatically, based upon the rules that are designed within Holly, to automatically execute that position and manage it the way that she would be managing the position.
So also, Brad, with interactive brokerage, we've been working for a long time, and they've kind of been really good place for us to be able to do a lot of R&D on this, and so that's all good. That's where it's going to be. For the bigger boys, if they want to play, they're going to have to pay, and I think it's going to cost like $1 million to connect to our API, so that we have the same, so that they can do the same thing that interactive brokerage does. That's their advantage. Don't you agree, Brad?
Yeah, I think that is one of their advantages. Yeah, Fernando, let me go ahead and
I want to reward the people that were good to us, specifically in this particular case. And let's face it, $1 million is like negative $10 million to people like TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, and Schwab. So come on, boys and girls, just show us you love us. Don't tease. And Francois, please let them know. So again, that's Brokerage Plus.
So one thing, let me answer Mark here, and again, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, Mark, but with respect to these strategies that are created for Brokerage Plus, you know, we have, if you're a premium subscriber, you have access to the odds maker, the back tester, and that particular tool uses the historical data that gives you the ability to then add filters or modify filters on your current strategy, but it doesn't allow you to go back in time and execute something. So I'm not sure if I understand you correctly, but.
So here, we're showing you our fully embedded swing trading simulation, where once you set up your alerts, like I showed you, your little pin, once that alert is triggered, our software just doesn't tell you, it trades it for you, like you're in it. And then you can get out whenever you want to get out, but basically it keeps track of your P&L. Nice work, Brad.
Thank you, I try.
I gotta say again, one of my hidden crushes, my Canadian buddy Barry, for whom I will be doing a little sit-in, so to speak. And you know when I do it, Barry, they're gonna love me. I know they love you, but they're gonna love me in a different way, Barry, because I just do it a little bit differently. I sing different. My Pavarotti is a little bit different than Barry's Pavarotti, but I will be a Pavarotti nonetheless in our trading room here, where we have a community of incredible trade ideas users, a best practices environment with its own meritocracy, and it's really like TV, but instead of having, you know, people in suits, you've got me just spilling like freestyle poetry of trading wisdom, unabashed. Brad, is that right?
Unabashed, sure.
Hopefully you guys have seen the Dukes and Hazzard presentation of the Q&A webinar. Let's get back to where we started. Please, we would love to see you at the Trade Ideas Summit in October 20th. Scott did an amazing job getting everything going, and the speakers are phenomenal. They all use our technology, and we're really going to talk about the psychological aspects of investing and how what you see is what you get in terms of we've already embedded a lot of the psychology for you inside the charts. That's why these guys do so well, why everyone loves us, but we're going to talk about it from everyone's different perspectives. We do a podcast, which I have been completely not doing because I've been on vacation. Totally human of me, right, Brad? Not like Mark Zuckerberg said.
Got to take vacations.
Got to take vacations. So I was on vacation with my family in Tahoe, amazing, having fun, but I'll be back doing my podcast with my good buddy, Mr. Jamie Hodge, who will be here as well with me. And listen, I'm on social media as well, and so is the rest of our crew. I'm going to get to that in a second. Free ebook, if you go check out trade-ideas.com/ebook, talks about what happens when the bull market stops. Really nothing for you because the AI will tell you, and it goes short, and you'll know. I always do this. This is what it looks. See, they get me. My God, it's like that marketing. Scott, be careful. I'm about to pay for this. So here it is. And for those that are not Trade Idea subscribers, this is how much our technology costs on a per diem, so that you can just kind of imagine. Okay, monthly, yearly, standard, and premium. Dang, this is what it costs. Of course, you have to annualize it, multiplied by the number. That's how you get it. But we want to give it to you in this perspective. And if you go here, you'll see what it really costs. But this is the relativity. This is your Starbucksometer. Okay? And you get 15% off of the first month or your year of Trade Ideas if you use the promo code ALPHA for August in all caps. We're very easy to get a hold of. If you're not afraid of some crazy stuff, feel free to follow me on Twitter at TradeIdeas1. And of course, our much more normal corporate account is at Trade Ideas. Please like us on Facebook /Trade Ideas Pro. And if you have any questions about anything that you have seen here or anything at all, please shoot an email to info@trade-ideas.com. So yeah, Brokerage Plus is going to go live sooner than you think. There will be a price attached, but not for people who sign up now. And everybody gets shares when we go IPO. That's, once again, how we're doing it, going straight to you guys versus the old-fashioned way with the big boys. Scott, I think that's it. Did I miss anything by any chance?
That's all good. So we'll have a recording of this up later on tonight or tomorrow and send out an email reminder about how to find it. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. Brad, always a pleasure, and we will touch base.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.